Hey, what's up, sports betters? We'll go live here in a second. I'm going to drink my drink, going to make some money. We already hit our first bet of the day from my earlier live stream, so that's pretty cool. We can discuss some of the promos out there, some of the math behind the promos, and just making sure it's all set up. I'm not as savvy as Randall with regards to this. So looks like we're good to go. So I'm going to share my screen. We'll play some bets. We'll make some freaking money. Again, if you want to follow along with the bets, you want to tail them, there's a link on YouTube. Go to the YouTube, go to the description. There's a link with all my live bets. All these bets have just been placed on my live stream. You can tail them, if you're watching, obviously. If not, everything's live, right? Look at the freaking profit and loss. We're up $3,000, which is, pretty good for 9 days. And let's keep it going. Okay, so I get confused with this platform, but I think this is right. Okay, cool. So let's talk about some bets. You can start on the ARB page. Obviously, there's live betting on OddsJam. Live betting is pretty stressful, right? Because lines move quick. However, the opportunities are bigger, right? Because every change in possession, possibly in the NBA, like if you're in the fourth quarter of a game, a team hits a three, they may go from, minus 150 to like minus 300. So live moves quick, very, very, very quick. I think we've placed a couple live bets on this and we won. I think we had Missouri a couple days ago, but here you can see like all the bets open. So these bets will settle today. This is the first bet we won. It was given out earlier on the live stream. St. Francis, Pennsylvania at Wagner, under 65.5 first half total points, that's supposed to say. And we can see that right here. So if I go to win bet and then I go to finished right here, that's the first bet of the day we cashed. So we're up 3.2K, about 3180. In our sum of expected profit. So if we go to the OddsJam EV page, like here, we can see the EV, right? 6.88%. This line looks incredible. Mary Mac plus 245, right? It's a low hold or an ARB to DraftKings. And it has 12.79% edge or EV expected return to the zero VIG line from Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world. So that would be a great bet, right? I'm pretty sure it's moved at this point, just given how much I've talked, but you can kind of see these lines move pretty quickly. So especially live, again, just because every change of possession is a pretty big deal, but the opportunities are much bigger. So anyways, I want this profit, I want to hit 10K on this net profit soon. We'll have swings, we'll have variance, right? We're running hot right now. I've only placed $1,057 in EV. But, I'm realizing a higher profit largely just due to variance, right? I'm running a bit hot right now. I should, according to the math, only be up $1,057, but I'm up 3,180. So let's go here. Here's an amazing bet. Anthony Edwards, over 3.5 assists. There's only one NBA game left today. It's probably going to be a bit slower than it usually is, but we can go to player assists, and then I want Edwards over 3.5. So you can scroll. You want to go to alternate assists over 3.5 plus 154. Again, we've said it. You want to know how to navigate these books. FanDuel, I wouldn't actually bet 500 on it, but just to prove a point, they're like, no, you've made too much money off us. Your max wager is 97.40. And it's like, okay, let me hit that, right? We have an ARB between FanDuel and Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, right? Whenever there's an ARB, you know that there has to be a profitable bet. I could make risk-free money. So that's an 8.71% EV bet or expected return. So if I'm betting $100, my expected return is 871, right? 871. So we can go here and you can see if there's an ARB, if I had both of these accounts, I only have FanDuel, right? I'm in the US, I can't bet on this. If I, placed a bet on both sportsbooks, I could earn a risk-free profit. There's no such thing, right? That's called arbitrage. There's no such thing as free money. No such thing in sports betting. So whenever there's an ARB, right, there's a good bet. And OddsJam is constantly scanning all these markets, alternate totals, alternate spreads, touchdown scores, player props to try to find you those few nuggets of gold that are actually interesting or profitable, mathematically profitable betting opportunities to look at, right? So this bet right here, 8.71% EV to the zero vig line from Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world. And we're going to be on Edwards over 3.5 assists for 97.40 at +1. So Edwards over 3.5 assists, Warriors game. Just make a note. I'm not going to annotate it perfectly because I'm trying to bet on sports and make some money, and hopefully you can tail this. And this is 97.40. Literally all these bets are live. So if you're curious about if OddsJam works or not, it should be helpful, because literally if you would have tailed every single bet I placed on one of these live streams, you would be up 3K, but you didn't for some reason. So 848 in expected profit, right? That's our EV. This is an 8% return, right? We're earning, roughly 8.71% return on our bet of 97.40. So I'm $8 richer in EV. So the sum of expected profit goes up, which pretty closely will mirror net profit. And again, all of these bets that are open from the live streams are just, in the sheet. Go to YouTube, go to the description on YouTube. You'll see a bit.ly link to Alex's whatever live bets. You can check them out. You can see for yourself. So we've had some down days, some up days, but obviously we're running a bit hot. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to add it to my bet tracker. So I'm going to click that little plus button, and then I'm going to be like, okay, I bet 97.40 on FanDuel, right? 97.40. So I'm going to add it to my bet tracker. And now we have a bet placed and a bet tracked. So that's pretty cool. So now we have our first mathematically profitable bet placed. Even though I'm limited on FanDuel, it's like, whatever, $8 in EV we picked up, which is your goal as a sports bettor. His points market also looks good. So again, like, you want to look, as Randall talks about a lot, for markets with a bit tighter market width, right? Market width is just an indication of like how confident the sharpest sportsbook in the world, Pinnacle, is in their lines. So Capital's minus 1.5, it's plus 240 on Caesars. Pretty good value, right? 37 cents higher than the number Pin is giving you, right? If you bet $100 on Pin and this bet won, Caps win by 2 or more, you would only win $203. On Caesars, you win $240, right? Good value. So when you're looking for bets, you really should start at the OddsJam plus EV page. These lines are constantly changing to find good bets. And again, you need multiple sports books to make OddsJam work for you. I've had over 40 sports books, I'm pretty sure, betting in a lot of different states. Some of the offshore ones, all over when I just over my, time betting on sports, and more sports books is better. And what's crazy about the US is, right, different states, different sports books. You go to New Jersey, you have certain options available. You go to Pennsylvania, there's different options. Not completely different. There's DraftKings in both, but you need more sports books to be successful. Like, you can see some of the bets are on FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever. Like, we'll see some WinBet in there. We'll see some Twin Spires. So go through the description on YouTube, click all the links, sign up for all the sports books in your location. If you're in Colorado, that is literally the best state you can possibly be in. Sign up for Maxime Bet. For the next 3 days, they're giving you a 2022 deposit bonus, right? Sign up for Betfred, $1,500 risk-free bet. All these sports books are very hard, competing for you, or competing very hard for you. They're not very hard competing for you. They're competing very hard for you, right? Because there's so many sports books in the US. So Caesars, at least in Arizona and New York, I believe it's higher. They give you an $1,000 bet match. You bet 1,000, they give you 1,000. Pretty easy, right? In the form of free bet, but still just insanely profitable. So, if you have questions about sign-up bonuses, whatever it is, you can email the, there should be, I think, an email. You can email us at oddsham.com. We'll be happy to help you out. And we can quickly discuss some of the promos you don't want to miss. So this game starts in, an hour and 20 minutes. So we can see this odd just slightly move down. We got plus 154. Now it's plus 152. These lines are constantly moving. But we have TNT Thursdays. So you place a 3+ leg same game parlay, and FanDuel just gives you $10, regardless of if your bet wins or loses. Now, there's some terms attached. Wagers must have final odds of plus 400 or greater to qualify. But regardless, you're betting $10. FanDuel gives you $10. This is a free $10 bill from FanDuel that you can use on whatever you want, right? So here's what I ended up going with. It's not complicated. It's a free $10. Don't overthink it. It's literally a free $10. So what I went with, if FanDuel loads, is Timberwolves under 228, Vanderbilt under 7.5 points. I looked at the, just odds jam to try to find some good lines, and we're good to go. Caesars has another great promo. You bet 3 NHL games, $25 each on the money line, and you get a $25 free bet, right? So if we go to NHL, it doesn't look like, if you miss this, that sucks. You just missed an insanely profitable promo with like 25% EV, but it looks like most of these games are live already at this point, and I don't think live bets are included. But Odell Beckham over 51.5 receiving yards. We have an arb between Twin Spires and Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world. Like, seems like a pretty good bet, right? And it definitely is. So this bet still looks pretty good. Already added it to my bet tracker. I got better odds. Carlston Harris plus 215. Both of these bets I kind of like. So if we go to Twin Spires, we can go to MMA. I think I already have him bet at plus 225 on FanDuel, but Carlston Harris, I already have him plus 225 on FanDuel, thanks to Odds Jam, constantly scanning the markets for me. But why not bet him some more? It's a great line. The lines have been ripping towards him. So let's see how much they give me. I'll try to put 500. And they say, no, you get 78.67. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I can add it to my bet tracker again, click this plus button. So because that little arrow right here is green, that means I already bet it because I bet it on FanDuel plus 225. Now I'm betting it again for 78.67 at slightly worse odds because lines continue to move towards this guy. So I'll throw 78.67 on this, and this was plus 215. And then this is Carlston Harris Moneyline UFC. This fight's on 2.5. And we bet 78.67. Twin Spires was like, yo, you've made too much money off us. You got 78.67. I'm like, okay. And the EV, or the profit margin of this bet, is 6.44%. So if we click into this, you can see pretty good value. Honestly, the plus 210 on FanDuel seems a little good. You can kind of switch around the state just to see different states have different odds. Like, these are the sports books I have available to me with UFC odds already up. But if you're in Pennsylvania or whatever, you have Parks. If you're in Canada, you have these 3 books and this book, I think. So pretty cool to check out. But plus 215, a lot of value. Lines have been ripping towards this guy. So we'll go back here. Maybe we can place a live bet too. So I just saw that one pop up. We can go to Florida International and we can see if we can get this bet off. So it's already down to plus 170. I would much rather have had plus 235. So I'm going to skip off on that and just kind of continue to move around. And we've said this before, you need to move quick. You're not going to hit every bet you see on OddsJam. You have to move quick, right? Lines move quick, especially when they're good lines, and nobody knows when they're going to occur, right? If Curry gets injured tonight in the Warriors game, everything has to change. Klay Thompson total points, that market's going to move. He's probably going to have the ball more, so his total points, will go up. Whatever, Draymond Green assists also will go up. Like, there's all these implications on the entire betting market whenever things change. So these odds are constantly flipping around and changing. So the users who get the most value out of OddsJam, one, use the product the most. Number two, they sign up for all the sports books in the YouTube description. Click all the links, sign up for every sports book in your state. You need more sports books to make more money. You will never, ever, ever make money sports betting with only one sports book. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. All these books have different lines, which is why sports betting is so fascinating as a market, right? FanDuel has different odds than Pinnacle, right? It's not like the same in any other market, right? Where all these sports books, they want to be unique, they want to be differentiated, so they have their own unique set of odds that they manage. And what OddsJam's doing is constantly scanning all these freaking markets for you, player props, game props, all different sports, to try to find you the betting opportunities that are interesting to look at. But again, some of them are really good, so you have to move quick. So we just bet this guy, added him to my bet tracker again. This bet had 6.44% edge. So 6.44% edge. I just locked in another, 78.67 in EV, or, $5 on a 6.44% return. So again, we want this number to go up. Essentially, using the OddsJam plus EV page, just placing all these bets, you are forming your own little, hedge fund as a sports bettor, right? You have a bunch of mathematically profitable bets. Not all of them will win. Not all of them, obviously, not all of them are going to win. Even the squarest of bettors have good days. You see all over Twitter, right? Guys win finally for one day, and it's all over Twitter, right? And then you see people who are actually smart and bet mathematically, they lose in a day, and then people think their system's flawed, right? Absolutely not. Right? Sports betting has variance. You never know what's going to happen in the future. It's all about locking in these bets with high expected returns to the zero vig line from the sharpest sportsbook in the world. That's how you make money, right? Pin right here, plus 121, minus 153. Let's throw that in a no vig odds calculator. The fair line, once you remove the juice, which is how Pin makes money, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, they charge the vig, right? So they give you prices on both his over and his under that they don't think are good. They don't think are fair or the true odds. So all we're doing with a zero vig odds calculator is you're taking a midpoint, right? You're saying, okay, given that this is the market on the sharpest sportsbook in the world, this is the fair price, the price of indifference, the true odds, as it's called, which would be plus 133.65. And we got plus 154, right? So that's pretty cool. We got our first good bet. Now let's go to Odell Beckham. Over 51.5 receiving yards in the Rams 49ers game. Again, you have an R between the sharpest sportsbook in the world and Twin Spires, right? So it's also very interesting to me, the the iterations of the Super Bowl odds posted. But anyways, let's try to get this bet down before the line moves. So over 51.5, minus 115. Thank you, OddsJam. Let's see. They're going to limit me. I wouldn't actually bet that. 97.21. You can see it right there. Pre-approved wager. So, okay, 97.21. Boom. 5.89% expected return. 97.21. 5.89% expected return. We'll reload OddsJam. And this was Odell Beckham over 51.5 receiving yards. Do I know anything about him? I mean, obviously a little, but I watch some sports. But no, I don't care, right? I don't care if he looked bad in practice today. I don't care. This is all just data. This is all just math. You're using the betting lines from the sharpest sportsbook in the world to find good betting opportunities. And of course, you don't have to bet everything here. There are some people who believe they have an edge as a handicapper, and maybe they do. Who am I to say, you're not right, right? Do I believe you're right? No. Do I believe better than the sharpest sportsbook in the world? Odell Beckham receiving yards? No, I absolutely don't, right? I'm a math guy. This is math and data product, right? No picks, no BS. But of course, if you believe you do, then you can use this, right, as an indication of what are possible good betting opportunities, right? If you're no way he has over 51.5 receiving yards, skip the frickin' bet, right? There's a lot of positive EV bets you can look at, and everything in sports betting is about the odds you're getting. So you can look for value odds across the wide array of sports books. After signing up for all the sports books in, the bio, all the links in description, click them all, sign up in your state, and then just pick the ones that you like best, right? That is fine too. You will be a much more profitable sports bettor if you combine handicapping and math, right? So 5.89% expected return, 5.89, and we bet 97.21 on this, so 97.21 wager with a 6% expected return. Our profit margin is 573. So again, what's so crazy is people may look at it and be like, oh, well, the stock market, you can bet anything you want on and it goes up 8% a year. And it's yeah, that's great. But what you're not realizing is these are expected returns that typically realize in a day, right? This game or less, right? I got a 0.85% return, granted, because I'm limited on $97 or 97.40, whatever it was. I got the return of the stock market and this game's going to be over, right? It's 6:50 p.m. This game's going to be over in 4.5 hours. You're earning the return of the stock market, right, in such a small amount of time, and you're watching those returns compound. That is the power, the true power of OddsJam. So we can keep going. Obviously, I love the product. I love math and sports betting, and the product works. So we can try to place a live bet. Blue Jackets minus 1.5, minus 140. Let's see if we can get there in time. Again, live betting is just very hard. Blue Jackets minus 1.5, minus 140. So it's intermission. So oftentimes during intermission, it's much easier to place live bets. So I'm going to throw $200 on that. Take a drink of my drink. Boom. We just got a live bet down. So now I have CBJ minus 1.5, minus 140. Because I'm on the platinum plan, it's obviously my freaking product. I'm on the plan. Get unlimited live odds, which is pretty useful, if you're willing to hustle, right? Sports betting, the people who think you can get rich sports betting and they see the big parlay wins, what you're not realizing is, right, yeah, sure, one guy's going to win a massive parlay tonight, but the other 10,000 idiots are all going to lose them, right? So you're not seeing the people who lose. So it's like OddsJam is much more, do you want to be smart with your money? Whereas the other is like, do you want to play scratch off lottery tickets where you don't have an edge and you're just paying extremely high juice? So we have CBJ minus 1.5, and this is, I'll just add in live bet. So this was minus 140. They're already up by 2 goals. So the thing is hopefully they don't blow it. So we have $200. And then this bet had an EV of 1.52%. So pretty small, but still, Pinnacle is very sharp live. So I'm going to take this and pick up my, $3 in EV. And again, my whole goal, form my own little hedge fund of bets, see this sum of expected profit go up. And this will have some swings, right? We'll have some losing days, we'll have some winning days. But like this number and this number in the long term, due to the law of large numbers, will end up very similar. And again, if you're just joining us, all the open bets are in the bio. Go to YouTube, go to the bio. There's like a sheet called Alex's Bets, and you can see all the open bets, right? And we're going to make a lot of money. And, obviously like these, there will be some fluctuations here, but not here. And this is the number you should really care about. So we can go back here and we can see if there's anything interesting. So some huge live bets, but FanDuel moves very quickly live. So maybe I'll avoid that. And we can see if there's anything else out there that's interesting. And there's a lot of stuff. The question is, how long of a live stream do you want? This I already bet, right? This looks really good. And then we can continue to go through and just use data to inform our betting, right, decisions. So, there's a lot of bets. We already bet this. This I haven't bet, right? The market width is a bit wider here. And also, maybe I am a bit of a handicapper. I've lost so much money betting against the Stars. They are my least favorite team to bet on for like the past 2 years, and betting on them has made me a lot of money. So I think I'm just going to hold off on that or maybe play it smaller. But again, the market width here, right, is 54 cents, right? Pinnacle's market is plus 203, minus 257. So like the fair line is plus 218. We're getting plus 240, which is obviously better. That is a positive EV bet. But like also this is 54 cents wide, right? 57 minus 3 is 54. Whereas, some of these markets, the much tighter ones, like even this UFC one, is 35 cents wide. And as Randall, talks about a lot, like tight market width is oftentimes better because that means Pin is more confident in their lines, and they're the sharpest sportsbook in the world. So you're happier, you have more confidence in your bet as a positive EV sports bettor when the market is tight, right? So, market width is a great consideration, right? Like in this is 12 cents wide, right? So we bet this earlier on the live stream, and we added it to our bet tracker. So you can see right here, here's kind of like my bet tracker I'm trying to use on this account for the live bets, which again are all in the sheet in the YouTube description. And we're up to 3.2K. So hopefully it continues to work out. What's more fun than making money sports betting? And again, OddsJam is a product that like you need to use a lot to be successful as a sports bettor. You're not going to be successful betting on the NFL. You guaranteed will lose money if you're looking at lines 2 seconds before the game start on Sunday and trying to make money. No, I have like freaking 30 bets open for the NFL. I'm going to have a ball time watching these games with a ton of my mathematically profitable bets placed. Some bets will win, some bets will lose, but my expected profit is positive, right? But all these bets occur at different times during the week, right? Like this under 23 plus 100 on FanDuel won't be around, right? It won't be around tomorrow, guaranteed. It's not going to be around because it's a good bet. It is a positive EV bet. Other people will bet it because it is mathematically profitable and their line will come down, right? At some point. So you wouldn't have had the opportunity to get in on this bet, right? Same with like we got Travis Kelsey, receiving yards or receptions or something like that in an earlier live stream. It's no longer available. It was like the best one 4 hours ago when we were doing this live stream. Now it's not available, right? So, this Carlston Harris probably won't be available much longer. But you get the point, like, especially the best betting opportunities will move quicker. And it's your goal as a sports bettor to kind of like, you can see this keeps going down. We got this plus 154. Now it's marching down to plus 152, plus 148, yada, yada. So we can keep looking through and see what we like here. And again, 2 NBA games today. It'll probably be pretty dang slow during the All-Star break. But you can figure out which bets you want to place. So this bet has a 1% expected return. You may be like, screw that. Would I ever bet on a bet with 1% EV? So what you're not realizing is it's 1% in like 4.5 hours, right? And this is relatively tight market, 33 cents a market width. So is it the most amazing bet I've ever seen? Of course not. But the thing is like, you're getting 1% EV in 4 hours. So an expected return of 1% in 4 hours. And it's all about how it compounds, right? It's all about dealing with the losing streaks, watching the winning streaks, tracking your bets, making sure with OddsJam, with the bet tracker, you are consistently beating the closing line, right? You want green. And granted, not all lines can move in your favor, right? You'll see some red, you'll see some green, and you'll see some black, right? Black just means your bet closed at exactly what we expected it to. Chiefs minus 9.5. I don't remember if this bet won or lost, but against the Steelers, right? Like it closed fair. So this bet ended up meh. But this bet closed amazing, right? Los Angeles Kings versus Penguins, whatever, when we started tracking, or one of the more recent bets. And all that matters in the long run as a sports bettor is generating positive closing line value. So if we like go to the blog and then we can type in CLV, closing line value, is you can read about it, right? You're not going to always beat the closing line. Crazy things can happen. Like there could be an amazing bet on the Rams. I have a lot of money on the Rams already, but then like if Stafford gets injured, the line's going to move against me. Does that mean my bet was a bad bet? No, of course it doesn't mean my bet was a bad bet. My bet was a great bet at the time of placing the bet. Now it's a bad bet, right? Because the line moved against me. But sometimes it'll move in your favor. Like if I bet on, Stafford and whatever, the whole O line for the 49ers gets COVID, then the line will work in my favor and I'll look like a genius. When realistically, this is just variance playing itself out in sports, right? In sports betting. So, we can see what we like. That looks pretty dang good. McNessie plus 270 if we can get that live. So we can go here. And again, live lines, if you're not on them, they're down to plus 255, which still is an arb to DraftKings. It seems pretty incredible. So we can, dabble smaller because it moved down a bit, but we can place $50 on this live. Come on. And this is another issue with live betting is it takes a long time to process. And what you can see is we got this plus 255. The market on pin, it's pretty wide, but it's also an arb to DraftKings, right? So we could have arbed it if we were able to move really quick. Is plus 192, minus 267. So this is the market on pin, right? Which means the fair price is plus 212, the true odds for McNessie live, right? And we were able to get, and we got this minus 140, still available, looks even better, right? Like, so we got McNessie plus 255. So we got McNessie plus 255. And so this is a live bet. So the line came down a bit, so I'm not positive about the actual EV, but whatever, we can just kind of like round. So I think they were true odds plus 215 minus 267. So if we go here, I think that's what they were, plus 197. I don't know, something like this. I think they were a bit better, but I don't really remember. So, the sheet won't be perfect in terms of the expected profit, right? Or the edge or the, whatever expected profit, just because some of these live lines will move really quick. But, this was a plus EV bet that we placed live. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Well, what is going on here? We can reload this. So now the market is plus 131, minus 176. So even plus 175 looks good. So do we want to double down? Yeah. Control F this game. Now they're plus 180. So we can refresh this. How's plus 180? Here's a good line. It looks like that moved, or here, plus 180, big ARB to DraftKings, 5.15% EV. Now it's plus 200. So you can see how quickly these lines, can move. I wonder if it's in the second half of the game. So we can try to find it again. So plus 180 is still 1.86% EV. You can refresh it again. Plus 200 clearly seems like a pretty incredible price. And it's obviously above 1% EV or 1.8% EV. Well, now it's back down to plus 180, which seems a little good, but again, pretty high market width here, right? 43 plus 13, 56 cents a market width. Maybe you want to avoid it, whatever, right? So we can kind of look through, and now plus 175 looks good. I assume this game is in the second half. Here, Seattle plus 245, seems pretty good if we can pick that up. So we can go here, and then I can go to the Penguins game, plus 245. Let's dabble. So I'll throw $50 on this. Again, live betting down to plus 235, which still looks good, right? It does look good. Let's go back here. It looks a little good, but again, high market width, so maybe we hold off. It never feels good to place a bet and then try to place a bet and then have the odds, move against you when you're about to get down a pretty good bet. So, although you can see the line moved kind of in my favor. So 10% EV doesn't seem particularly bad. So why don't we place it? Screw it. So let's go. Please process. Don't move the odds. And this is the thrill of live betting. We just got down plus 235, which just looking at the betting market, sure, there's a bit higher market width, but it's 10% EV. Freaking lit live bet. So we'll go here, and then we have the Kraken Moneyline versus Penguins, and then, live bet. And then this was plus 235, and this bet has 10% EV. Right. So absolutely insane, because this game is almost over, right? We just picked up a 10% expected return, and this game ends, probably in an hour. And people, if you don't get why we started OddsJam, it's because mainly, right? I love betting on sports, it's fun, but it's largely just because of this, right? We get this question all the time, oh, if OddsJam actually worked, why wouldn't you just use it? And it's well, I do. I use the product every day. I'm on the live streams, make YouTube videos. I love the product. If I go here, right, and I want to bet on the Capitals game, and this is why nobody becomes a professional sports bettor. I'm oh, I want to bet $5,000 on this. They're nope, you only get 112.17. And this is a very time intensive job, right? Sports betting, you're constantly scanning the market for edges. These lines are always moving. It's fast paced. It's frustrating. Lines can move against you, whatever. It's stressful. You can lose money in days. And you just can't, it's not as liquid as, maybe other markets. So for us, it was kind of rather have the power be in the hands of other people who can find value with the product. Right. So we already bet this. We already bet this. And continue to scroll around, kind of high market width on this. But, Pinnacle, obviously a very efficient soccer betting market. Being soccer's probably the biggest market they take action on. And, this looks pretty good. This Jared Vanderbilt under 10.5 rebounds. If you wanted to dabble there, I mean, I could spend all day on this frickin' site. We can see if there's any tighter, markets. Under 110, I mean, whatever, I could sit here all day and play some bets and continue to go through this, but I think I have enough bets for tonight. We hit some bets. It'll be interesting to, see what happens. And hopefully we can keep this profit marching higher, 3.2K. Again, I'll place a few more bets. Maybe some people can tail, go to YouTube, go to the live stream, go to the description of the video. If you want to see all the open bets, you want to follow along, you want to tail some, we're up 3.2K, you can check it out. And I'm trying to think what else. Again, you need as many freaking sports books as possible. As many sports books as possible. So go through the YouTube description, click every link, for sportsbooks in your state and sign up for them. And again, what's so crazy about the US is, right, different states, different regulations, different sportsbooks. Colorado has Sports Illustrated, Fox Bet. Arizona doesn't, right? Which is why Colorado is objectively the best state for sports betting in the United States. So I think I'll call it a day there. Sign up for all these sports books. Email us any questions you have. We're happy to answer anything. We're happy to tell you about promos, the best sports betting things in your state. If you didn't already, so FanDuel logged me out. Thanks. And we can, if you didn't already, like, bet this promo on the Warriors game. It's literally a free $10 bill from FanDuel. And again, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day. Let's make some freaking money in this live bets. Let's see this march up to 10K. I appreciate it.